So
small incremental carvings of the stone
yeah,
for 22 years can break down a tunnel through a mountain. I mean,
yeah, it's
it's
like
amazing.
time and pressure, right?
Pressure. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel, The Mutual Fund Guys, where we only speak about mutual funds. I'm Samir, and with me is Mahesh. Both Mahesh and I are partners at AMS Investments, which is a mutual fund distributor based out of Mumbai. So today's video, Mahesh, is SIPs, systematic investment plans, why they are important, why they are good for us. Talk about SIP through a story of who we call the mountain man, Mr. Dashrath Manjhi. So Mahesh, maybe you can tell us a story about Dashrath Manjhi and how it relates to SIPs.
Yeah. So, Dashrath Manjhi is the name of the person. He's no longer with us and he's passed away. But everybody, I think, knows his story to a certain extent. And then Nawazuddin Siddiqui actually played Dashrath Manjhi in a film. So, to that extent, I think it is pretty much well known. So, just a gist of what he did, he lived in a hamlet in Bihar or some place like that, which means that it was not really connected to the rest of the world in any big way. The latest town, the nearest town where there were any kind of medical facilities were like 70 kilometers away, because there was a mountain that stopped people from going right through to the town. So they had to take a very circuitous route to reach the town. There was a mountain blocking that hamlet from the town. Right, that's the situation. And as time progresses, Dashrath gets married, and then one day his wife has a fall or something, and she is not able to reach the town in time, and therefore the wife passes away. They are not able to take her to the nearest town, right? 70 kilometers away and long journey. They are not able to take her, and because of lack of medical assistance, his wife passes away, and this destroys him, right? I mean, he completely can't handle the fact that she died because they couldn't reach the town in time.
Hospital, yes.
Yeah, the hospital in time. And so anybody else would have probably broken down and lost their interest or gone into depression. I don't know, whatever people could have done. But what Dashrath Manjhi does is he picks up a hammer and a chisel and decides to break down the mountain and make a road from his hamlet to the town directly through the mountain, right? This is what he decides. And he starts going on a daily basis and starts chipping at the mountain. And of course, people call him mad. I mean, you would call him mad, I would call him mad. I mean, kaun karta hai ye thing, right? Who tries to create a road through the mountain single-handedly? So this guy keeps doing it daily, small effort of chiseling down the stone with his hammer, and he keeps at it. And 22 years later, I mean, like 2 decades later, he finally builds a road from the hamlet to the town. Amazing. And cuts down the entire time to travel from his village hamlet to the town to only 20 minutes through one sheer single man's effort, consistent effort through a long period of time. So
small incremental carvings of the stone for 22 years can break down a tunnel through a mountain. I mean,
it's like time and pressure, right?
Pressure.
We say about how the tides of the sea actually carve the rocks around the shore. It's just continuous erosion over a long period of time. The same way this guy is able to build a road through the mountain by chiseling away a small quantity of stone on a regular basis for a very long period of time. And it's an incredible effort. It has been feted all over the world. He finally got recognized for doing what he did. So, the story has a happy ending. It's not a sad story. But in that story, we all have a lesson, right? I mean, this SIP is also nothing else but consistent small investments for a long period of time. And I think an SIP done consistently for a very long period of time can lead to life-altering wealth.
Yes.
For example, just so that people are aware of what we are talking about, if you invest, say, 10,000 rupees only for 20 years, that is every month 10,000 rupees only for 20 years, and assuming we get a 12% return, which is less than the number that we talked about on an average in the last episode, we said around 14% was
14%.
the average return. But if you say, even if it is 12%, then in 20 years, this 10,000 rupee investment done on a monthly basis leads to 1 crore of rupees at the end of 20 years, right? So 10,000 is a small number. I mean, in today's age, 10,000 on a monthly basis is a small number. So that leads to 1 crore. Now, if you increase it, multiply it, and say that instead of 10,000, I can do 1 lakh, then you are going to achieve 9.9 crores at the end of 20 years, assuming 12% rate of return. This is
Yes.
an assumption. I want to be very clear. We are not saying there is anything guaranteed in this. We are saying, assuming a 12% return, this is the number that you will reach. And therefore, again, coming back to the same point, what an SIP is nothing else but consistent application of pressure. It is akin to consistent application of pressure on a mountain for a long period of time. A road can be built in 22 years by a single person through the mountain. So
Amazing.
the same single person investing on a monthly basis consistently for 20 years can create life-altering wealth. That is the story that we want to talk about. So why SIP is, it is very clear that what we talked about in the last episode, where you said about the data and about the fact that savings is not enough, it is important to make it into investments. This episode, I wanted to say that it is about time and pressure. It is about consistency. It is about doing the small thing regularly for a long period of time. And that can, with the example of this Dashrath Manjhi story, I'm trying to tell that can lead to a humongous change in the future, right? The small efforts today can lead to a big change in the future. And SIP is that small effort for us in terms of investment.
There are also some other stories in this Dashrath Manjhi's case study, right? One is that once he went through this very emotional episode of losing his wife, he could have chosen to be wounded, or he could have chosen to be wise. And he chose to become wise.
Yeah.
And he became wise. Of course, he went through a tragedy. He became wise. He started on a journey. So a lot of people in the stock markets or in investing in mutual funds, they have a bad episode, okay, of 1 year investing or 2 year investing, and then they get wounded.
Yeah.
They get wounded as, okay, I'm not going to do this anymore. And actually, the option is to become wiser by then saying, okay, look, I had a bad experience in the start, but over a 10, 12-year period, if you stick around, your experience will be better, right? The exact same thing with Dashrath Manjhi, right? He could have just chosen to say, okay, I hate the government. He could have, become an alcoholic and, cried out, but he decided to become wise and he treaded that journey. I think that is also a very key lesson for investors, that you have the option to become wise or wounded. Try and pick the wiser path, which has shown, at least in the past, that it has been the wise path. The second point you made was, time and pressure. And a lot of people don't really give enough importance to the time part. Okay?
Yeah.
And for them, almost is that it is essential for them to sort of keep overthinking this process. When to invest, why to invest. India is not doing well. India is doing well. It's like Dashrath Manjhi did not think about, the government should build the road. Why should I build the road?
Yeah.
This government is not going to do anything. Or, many reasons, right? But he just stuck to a path.
And I think the key thing is what you said. When he started, imagine his mindset, right? I'm sure when he started, he would not be, completely certain that at the end, at any point in time, he'll be able to build that road. So he was more focused on today, that I will just do what I have to do today in terms of the breaking down that. There is no way he would have known for certain that it will happen. But he didn't care. He just wanted to do that process. He wanted to stick to that process that he wanted. Which he thought of. That is to break down small portions daily. And you imagine 22 years of doing that without knowing whether he'll be successful.
And the important part, Mahesh, is that this doesn't require too much effort. Look, Dashrath Manjhi did not stand all day on the mountain and kept digging, right? Hitting the rock, right? The amount of time you make to set up your SIPs is very minimal.
Yeah.
It's very minimal. Okay. There's hardly any time spent for you to set up an SIP. It takes 15, 20 minutes. But once you start, that your work is done. So
Yeah.
you have to
Your
also,
work is done.
yeah,
Yes.
you have to also understand the time that you have spent to do that is very minimal. Okay. But the returns are manifold. Okay. It's life altering, as you would say. Just like Dashrath Manjhi's small pecking on that stone was life altering, right? For
Correct.
people wanting to travel from this district to another district to
And I
access
think
hospital.
like Dashrath Manjhi, when he didn't know whether he'll succeed, but he just kept at it.
Yes,
Similarly, in your SIP, you can't start off by saying that if I do this SIP, I want to make this kind of money.
money.
I think the key thing is to realize that something great can happen provided you be at it, right? But
Correct.
we can't start off with this basic assumption that it will make me money, a
Money.
huge amount of money.
Hmm.
That is a byproduct of following your process. If
Correct.
the markets are kind and gods are in your favor, or whatever else you want to say, you will make big money.
Yeah.
But we don't want to talk about only the money part of it. We want to really focus on the process part of it, because that's the right thing to do.
On a decision-making process, people say, I don't want to invest and I will see, what happens after 3, 4, 5 years, how the economy is going, etc., etc. You then lose out on an opportunity.
Yeah.
Every time you delay the onset of investing, you are one step further away, right? Because you cannot keep waiting and waiting for the results to come through. Okay. It's like Dashrath Manjhi cannot visualize, there will be a completely open tunnel which I will have access to, right? You can't visualize it. And you cannot keep thinking about if this happens and this will happen. It's too many probabilities for you to manage. So because there are no other decisions to be made, the only decision for you to stick to a process which has worked in the past, and that is the only data you can go with, and stick with it. And hopefully at the end of that 10-year, 20-year journey, that data would have been proven right and you would be better off. That's the only decision you can make. You can't make any other decision at that point.
So this is the story that we want to leave you with. I mean,
Yeah.
think of Dashrath Manjhi whenever you do a SIP.
Yeah, Dashrath Manjhi. Exactly. Think of the mountain man, as they
Yeah.
called them, he was called in India, the mountain man of India, Dashrath Manjhi. So thank you for watching, and hopefully this video has made you a bit wiser about investing in SIPs. And we are more than happy to help you with that process as well. You can write to us at hello@amsinvestments.net. And always, we are happy to have a chat with you for a free consultation as well on your existing portfolio of mutual funds. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.